Hey there everyone, I'm Shovelcat. I just wanted to say before we get underway with this showcase that I've started using a different program while working on these videos. This means they should be a little bit better looking, and especially I can do things like the astronomer splash screen that you are seeing right now. I know I used it with the astronomer video with Vexation, and it's a bit hard to explain why I couldn't use it before, but it suffices to say that you'll be seeing a lot more like it in the episodes to come. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I have some interesting replays, so let's get started. Hey there everyone, I'm Shovelcat, and this is a shuffle showcase that I was doing, playing 2v2s with Rageful as he was playing Harold. I was up against this Astronomer Thorn team that I thought was kind of interesting. I myself, when I was playing Thorn, I kind of find myself a little bit phobic of astronomers for the reason that I just seem to hit their trances so often that it's a bit annoying. And that's a good kind of placement for the Chronoflex to have, and right there I probably would have hit that trance if not for getting pulled away. The reason why I was saying that was a good Chronoflex location is because people tend to hug those pillars and kind of shoot around them. And you see that right there, I was missing a whole bunch of M1s, and of course, taking the whole ultimate in my face does not help any. Luckily, Rageful was capable of hitting me up with all of that health, and I do get to pull the Astronomer back into my ultimate. That's very good. I noticed that he had already used his space, and then he used his trance. And I suppose you can say that I hit the trance on purpose. That one I did not hit on purpose, but that by hitting it, that means that it was over sooner, and there was a lesser chance that his trance was going to be off of cooldown when I was using my ultimate. As you can see, I'm getting real low here, so my priority is kind of to split up these two, because I know that the Astronomer has burst. The Thorn kind of has a bit of burst, and also that Astronomer uses his space one more time, so I get to use my ultimate. Not before my Herald. He's taken way too much damage than I really should have let him. And of course I get to eat another ultimate right here. I was about to use my shield on my Herald just to take off that entangling roots, so that he wouldn't have any more health taken off of him. I was kind of afraid that he might die to the dot. Unfortunately, well, fortunately he didn't die. I do get to M1 down this Astronomer and finish him off using kind of like a meteor. Now, in this situation, I've got the disadvantage. You can tell based off of how much normal health I have versus him. He has more normal health than me, so if this went into a sudden death fight right here, right now, then I would definitely lose. Because I have the advantage with my recovery health, I definitely want to bust down on his normal health, since he has an advantage on it. And I also want to keep him away from the energy rune, so that he doesn't have energy for healing spores. So right there I failed a little bit, but I still have the energy advantage. I can still heal myself like that. I do have enough energy for an ultimate, so right here I just want to keep away from him. I just used my shield just so that he wouldn't hit me, and there we go, filled up the remaining space with my ultimate. That's a no-go finisher when a Thorn can fill up the rest of the battlefield using his ultimate. Then really, where are you going to go? The sudden death fog actually does just as much damage, but it deals damage straight to your normal health. Some people, I think, don't know that, but it actually ignores recovery health and damages you directly. And in fact, also ignores shields, any protection buffs or anything like that. So actually, if you look at it that way, sudden death fog hurts you more than my ultimate does, because you can actually block my ultimate and you can heal through my ultimate, but you can't do that against sudden death fog. And the reason why I say that, I think that some people don't understand that, is because they will run out of my ultimate into the sudden death fog, because they feel like that's somehow going to save them against some damage or something similar to that. I don't know what's in people's heads, but that's just what I've seen, is people running out of it. And see, there, that Astronomer, he used his space and then he used his trance because I walked up to him. He thought I was going to M1. Unfortunately, my Q, my pull was off, was on cooldown, so I wasn't able to pull him back into the ultimate. I still did get to do quite a bit of damage, and I'll actually pull that up here in a second. And because I was doing damage and he was spending more time walking out of my ultimate, he was actually not healing Thorn, and that was what allowed my Herald, Rageful, to do a whole bunch of damage to him without any consequences. So right here, I'm really just trying to make sure, like I've said about, you know, the normal health and the recovery health, I see that my Herald doesn't have a lot of recovery health, so I just want to make sure that the Astronomer can't get close enough to my Herald to do any damage before the Herald can get his recovery health up some more. And one thing I wanted to look at real quick is the Dead Root's damage was 609. I did 609 damage with that Dead Root, so it did pay off a little bit. Taking into account that your Dead Roots can really only do, I think it's like 56 damage in total. So that was from the other ultimate that I did. So right here, this Thorn, he's already used up his base, he's already used up his shield, and of course, Moonstone's already been used, so I really want to get on him. Of course, he's been feared, so might as well just let him run away. Still a little bit weak on this Thorn. He has no recovery health, so I want to switch on him as often as possible. Of course, putting the weaken on him, so that kind of makes that ultimate a little bit weaker than usual. There goes the shield, so we really want to jump onto this Astronomer as quickly as possible, especially whenever he uses his trance. I kind of looked at him for a second just to see if he was going to trance, but he was too smart for that, so that didn't happen. Of course, there's his space, so I can use my ultimate, put a weaken on him while he's in it, so that ultimate doesn't work as much, and any chip damage will get him, but the shield's back up. Oh my goodness. We really need to get him, and anything will do it, really. But the trance gets hit, and I do hit him with my mushroom spores, and there's the shield again. Fungal spores finishes him off. There we go. And that was possible, you may have noticed, because the Herald used his Chronoflux, and then the Thorn hit himself with his own what's called mushroom spores. Yes, and he was actually incapacitated while we were DPSing down the Astronomer. And he probably had enough energy for healing spores, maybe, but unfortunately he was incapped. So that is what wins us the game there. It was very good placement with the Chronoflux that puts the Thorn under the effect of mushroom spores. So there we go. And into the second game right here. And here we are in the second game. I wanted to do a little bit of Astronomer gameplay since I've been doing quite a bit of Metal Warden, and of course she's a tank, and then I just now did Thorn and he's a tank, so here's a little bit of healer content. And of course I'm playing with a Kurd, and he's playing as the Astronomer. I mean, not the Astronomer, wow, as the Spearmaster. So I did get myself hit by that energy leash right off the bat. That's definitely something that you have to look for, because most Metal Wardens will of course be using their energy leash right off the bat, and I do get hit by that one also. That's something that you have to be watching for the Metal Warden. If he seems to turn towards yourself and you're holding down a movement button, you kind of want to be quick about switching what button you're on, because if you're already on the tip of the energy leash, then that's a big problem. And of course, I took way much more damage than I put out or healed, so I wasn't even mitigating my own damage. So that is why I wasn't able to heal up my Spearmaster as much as I should have, and that's why we lost the round. So going here into the second game, I had more time to react to that. I'm not sure what is the reason why I wasn't reacting to that. However, the Metal Warden, very good reaction time on not hitting my trance in the very first part there. And right here, I'm just trying to play a little bit off to the side. That positioning on that space wasn't so great. Luckily, I do get the trance proc, able to heal myself up. Right about now, I should probably use an EX1 or something similar to that in order to make sure that my casting speed was up. May have already done that. And that is what wins us the round there, allowing myself to heal up so that the Spearmaster can do what he does best, which is just damage. Just pure damage. And of course, my healing was higher than his tanked, so I was doing very good at keeping him up. And of course, himself, he was doing a very good job at reducing damage. It's not always all on the healer and how much numbers he can pull out. It's how little numbers the DPSer has on himself. Especially, I mean, if you catch an M2 like that, that's definitely not a good idea, guys. If you're catching the enemy's stuff, that's not a good thing. It's not a game to catch. So right about here, Kurt was telling me on Skype, he was like, let's just play the Pope game. They have a lot of anti-melee, so he's just going to go in, do his combo, and then get out. So right here, we actually have a good position for that because they're bottlenecked through this area, or they have to go around. And if they went around, then that would give us access to the energy room. They definitely don't want that. And of course, since the Psycho Pump was stoned, I did have access to the energy room. However, the stone would have come off right around when I was still over there, and that might have been a problem. Very lucky of myself that I didn't space directly into that ultimate, or else it would have been that would have been it. I would have had nothing to counter that, unless if somebody would be so kind as to hit my trance. But besides that, nothing. No idea why I'm missing that. Maybe it has something to do with why I'm hitting energy leashes. And Kurt does take out that Metal Warden, so here we go. It's a 2 versus 1. Still anybody's game, really, but it looks pretty good that we're going to win this round. So, in general, like I said, that positioning was very good. How we had them in a bottleneck, and we were able to play the burst game where the Spearmaster jumps in, he does a little bit of damage, he end caps, then he leaves. He gets healed up, he waits for his cooldowns, and that is in general how you would play a Spearmaster anyway, but especially because they have a very anti-melee comp is why you would be playing something similar to that. Sometimes as Spearmaster you can actually stay in for a little bit longer, but not with this composition. It's just really more beneficial. In fact, me myself as a astronomer, I should really actually, looking at this gameplay, I should be kind of putting myself in there. I mean, especially since the Psycho Pump right there was more open than he really should have been. That was an opportunity where I could have moved in and done my burst and then left, or something similar to that. I believe also Kurt was talking to me on Skype about the way that you can play with, should I trance in and then space out, or should I space in and then trance out? That was actually his exact words. And that is exactly what would be a good, effective way of dealing with this situation. If I, especially since I'm on Skype, I can coordinate that sort of attack with him. And I believe here, the Spearmaster really just, he cleans this up completely. If I'm not mistaken, here it is. There we go. And that is the end of the second game. Anyway, that is all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. So here's an interesting game that I was playing in standard matches, and I found it kind of interesting because somebody actually said, you know, YouTube that fight or something like that, and the rest of the game wasn't too interesting, but I just wanted to kind of show what my mindset was when I was in it. And that Psycho Pump just used her other side, so now I'm going to use my ultimate, pull her back into it. However, the other people on my team have just died, so now it's just me against a Harbinger and a an inhibitor. So what I first look at is my normal health is kind of high, it's pretty close to the top. However, I have no energy, so I just want to get them kind of close to each other and space out. I have no recovery health, so I want to wait for my Q to come back up, shield in order to let that happen. Now I'm going to jump away, and actually I want this Harbinger to use both his space, there he goes, and his Nether Shift, which apparently he's already used. So that brings down his health to almost nothing. Anything will take him down, and one Fungal Spore does. So this inhibitor hasn't had recovery health every time I've hit him. So now I'm just going to kind of shield whenever he attacks me. Kind of keep away from him. I have longer range than he does. Right here, he spaces in. I use my shield, and then 2 Mushroom Spores. Now I have another ultimate, so that takes him out right there. And that was right about when people were saying, "Oh wow, Shuffle, you're so awesome," or something like that. And that it was requested for me to YouTube that fight. I just wanted to show what was kind of going on in my head at the time. So hopefully that helps some people in the 2 versus 1 situations that you get into, kind of the mindset that you need to be in, and how to get out of it. So there we go.